Happy Monday, if that's possible. A cautionary tale about Mondays here in a few moments. How was your weekend? I hope good. Friday, something happened to me that's a first in my life. I went to Stone Ridge to see the 41st anniversary screening of This Is Spinal Tap. There was a trailer that they ran for the sequel that comes out in September. I got to be honest, the trailer didn't give us a whole lot. But of course, I always enjoy the funniest movie ever made. This is Spinal Tap. So I get to the theater, and there's several school buses in the parking lot, and I'm thinking to myself, well, kids are probably there to see Superman. They're certainly not going to be in the theater seeing This Is Spinal Tap with me. And it turned out that was all too true, because for the first time in my life, I had a movie theater entirely to myself. I kept wanting to go up to the little window and knock and say, hey, sorry that you have to screen this movie for me. But, after a while, it didn't feel so awkward. And it was kind of nice, not going to lie. It's kind of nice. Speaking of nice, Sunday we went to Twin Rivers, where we often go with our kayaks. And my wife caught no fish. People are hauling fish out of there like you wouldn't believe. My son-in-law has caught some monster catfish, and my wife didn't get so much as a nibble. I don't fish, but I don't have the patience for it. So I let her do that, and I brought along a book and enjoyed that. Yeah, that's me in a kayak reading a book, casting my net for knowledge. Exactly. All right, let's jump in here and see what we got. The president decided over the weekend to blame several of his go-to targets, alleging they forged the Jeffrey Epstein files and then didn't do anything with them, apparently. This doesn't seem to be going away, even for his voter base. And what do we have in reality? I don't know. Who's in there? We can only guess. It just so happens attorneys for Ghislaine Maxwell are due in court today, attempting to move ahead in getting Maxwell a new trial. She's the only one convicted in the whole Epstein sex trafficking affair. This idea that there's nothing of note to be released could come in handy for her attorneys, I suppose. And for what it's worth, and probably not much considering the source, the Daily Mail in England reporting Maxwell is ready to reveal a list of Epstein clients, and further, she is willing to appear before Congress. As one person responded on Twitter, quote, Maxwell did not hang herself next week, end quote. Meanwhile, the president says he'll have a major announcement pertaining to the Russia-Ukraine war later today. Lawmakers who finally were allowed to inspect report being disturbed by conditions for inmates at the so-called Alligator Alcatraz concentration camp in Florida. Oh boy, that Air India disaster of earlier this year. A preliminary investigation confirms both engine fuel control switches were shut off. In the cockpit voice recording, one of the pilots is heard asking the other, why did he cut off the fuel? The other pilot responded that he did not do so. We can speculate, but I guess we'll wait for them to finish their investigation. Do you own a Ford manufactured between 21 and 23? Check with your dealer. 850,000 vehicles recalled because of a fuel pump issue. Namely, it causes the vehicle to stop in the middle of the road, so there's that. Retired Navy man looking at some serious jail time for sharing top secret information with a woman claiming to be from Ukraine. He met her on a dating site. Old enough to know better, 64-year-old Lieutenant Colonel David Slater retired. The woman with whom he was chatting was likely not who she said she was. Whoever it was, they were pumping Slater for information that would be helpful in Ukraine's war effort. She called him, quote, secret informant love and her secret agent, end quote. Oh, tell me more about Russian weapon capabilities. It makes me so hot. Thank you, pretending to be a spy, pretending to be a woman. That's the best I got. Elon Musk says Grok 4 is smarter than a human with a PhD but it, quote, lacks common sense, end quote. So it's pretty much modeled after you, perhaps. It's Bastille Day in France, the day in 1789 when they stormed the Bastille, and the French Revolution was ignited. It's also National Mac and Cheese Day. I don't know how we go from Bastille Day to mac and cheese, but there you go. You can celebrate Bastille Day with a big bowl of Kraft. Also, it's National Nude Day and National Tape Measure Day on the same day, you don't say. Coincidence?
Sport!
Former Buckeye Quinshon Judkins arrested over the weekend in Florida for domestic violence and battery. Do I need to remind you who drafted him in the second round?
Fun times in Cleveland today, Cleveland!
Yes, the Browns. He made bail on Sunday, and we'll see where that goes. What a win Saturday for the Crew in Hell is Real Part 2. They fall behind early 2-0, and they looked just terrible. I mean, I didn't recognize it for a good chunk of the first half, but they slowly pulled it together and then rallied and stole FC Cincinnati's soul with a 4-2 win. Home to Nashville on Wednesday. Chelsea beat PSG 3-0 to win the Club World Cup. That's an event that the Crew should have been invited to, but perhaps it's just as well. Miami, Seattle, and LAFC all flamed out. As they awarded the trophy at a stage to Chelsea, the president was up there. He was to hand them the hardware and then get off the stage. But he just stayed as they were jumping up and down. We see some guy in a suit trying to encourage him to exit stage left, and he just stayed there. It's kind of awkward. Reds and Guardians both win on Sunday heading into the All-Star break. Home run derby this evening, All-Star game tomorrow. The Clippers heading into the AAA All-Star break with a loss to Louisville. College football will be here again soon. You need to know about message board geniuses on Twitter. You know, many times I've thought, I need to get off Twitter. This is toxic. But then I remember that message board geniuses exist, so I'm still there. It's simply a collection of ridiculous posts on college football message boards. And those message boards are a hotbed of delusion and antisocial behavior. Here's a recent post from a Texas Tech fan. It really has nothing to do with college football, and I don't know why he posted it, but it's something. Let me read from it now. The topic is backyard with the neighbors. Quote, "It started last night. I'd had a few beers, and like I've done 100 times before, I stepped out onto the back porch to take care of business. It's my yard. It's tradition. The breeze was nice, and all felt right with the world, until the new motion sensor lights snapped on like a prison yard spotlight. Right across the fence, lit up like a deer caught in a halogen, was my neighbor. I have no idea what she was doing. Pretty sure we locked eyes. I was midstream. She gasped like I was committing a felony and ran inside. I quickly went inside and passed out. Well, this morning, my wife got flipped off while pulling weeds. Full bird, middle of the morning. No mistaking it. A few hours later, two of the neighbor's boys launched a surprise water balloon strike over the fence, hitting one of my daughters. Where do we go from here, fellas?" I got nothing. I don't know what you should do. I don't know what I think about that. It's on Message Board Geniuses, and you should sign up today on Twitter and follow along with the college football season coming. Good Lord. Seen in Peru recently, the jockey race. Horse jockeys sprinting down the track. I think they should do this at Scioto Downs. It was outstanding. San Diego Comic-Con is a week from this weekend, and they've confirmed for the first time George Lucas will appear. Maybe too much for some nerds to handle. They better have some paper bags for them to breathe into. Remember actress Milana Vayntrub? For several years, she was the face of AT&T, and along the way, she cultivated a large fan base of creepers. Now Milana has joined Only Philanthropy, selling images of herself to raise money for California wildfire relief. One of the few places Kanye West can still perform. I guess we're supposed to call him Ye, right? I don't know. After his full embrace of Nazism, shows have been hard to come by in most places except for China. Where he was performing over the weekend, there were technical issues. The show began late, ended early by more technical issues. I mean, the setup seemed pretty simple. It was just a huge metal stage. He had a DJ, and for some reason, it still didn't work. And as he walked off, the crowd filled the air with boos. Oasis did a run of huge shows in their hometown of Manchester over the weekend. Spotted at one, Matty Healy from the 1975. Of Healy, Noel Gallagher once said, quote, "He's a slack-jawed f***wit," end quote. Science. Researchers in Hong Kong say stressing out about Mondays leaves behind a biological footprint. Cortisol, produced in times of high stress, detected in the hair of test subjects many Mondays later. Here's one less thing to stress about. I'm truly sorry for all the moms over the decades who wasted their time telling us that you have to wait 30 minutes before swimming after eating. The American Red Cross says that advice has no basis in reality and never has. So go ahead and shove that mac and cheese in your face and get in the pool. Here on this, a mac and cheese day. New Orleans, interesting weekend for sure there. They always attract their share of conventions. There was a comic book convention, the National Federation for the Blind convention, the International Gospel Baptist Convention, and a Swingers Convention. How many Baptists were at the Swingers Convention? It's anyone's guess. And if you were a less than attractive Baptist at the Swingers Convention, maybe you could hook up with a blind person. We go to Russia, where a couple and their 2 children decided Texas was not Texas enough for them, and they moved to Russia. It was there. Oh my God, I can't believe he did this. It was their husband enlisted in the Russian army after being assured that his skills as a welder would keep him far from the action, and now he's at the front. Shake my head. It's been hot of late in England as well. One scientist recommending smearing yogurt on your windows to keep your home cooler. The dried yogurt film reflects back some of the sun. It's their thinking anyway. I'm not smearing yogurt on my windows. Not even plain yogurt, which I still don't understand why people buy that. I suppose you could use it in cooking, sure. Zambia. Researchers have observed a group of monkeys adopting a fad. This is interesting. One of them put a blade of grass in his ear, and soon all of them were placing grass blades and sticks in their ears and in some cases their backsides as decorations, as jewelry, essentially. So yeah, when you were a kid and your mom saw you do something stupid because somebody else did it, they would say, monkey see, monkey do. I guess there's more than a little truth to that. Key West, a man facing federal charges after never returning a rental boat. The boat and 2 adults were eventually found in Cuba.
How in the world did we end up losing a boat to Cuba? I didn't think that was even in play. Had all sorts of reasons for why he wanted to add some additional gas, that he was going to be doing some fishing. There was a report that they were in custody in Cuba. They immediately launched a search and rescue mission because the child that was on the manifest was not in custody in Cuba. And we always get some really funny stories. You know, losing a boat to Cuba, I think this is going to be a story we talk about for a long time.
That's the rental boat's owner. Turns out there was never a kid on that vessel, which is a relief. I don't know why they would put him on the manifest if he wasn't there, whoever this person was. The couple has been rounded up and sent back by Cuban authorities. It's not clear whether the boat has made its way back. I'm guessing no. Was he going there to pick up people to smuggle them out of Cuba? Was he trying to defect? We don't know. Gone viral, kid orders $3,000 in toys on Amazon. He's 5. Here's how he did it. Pretty genius.
He opened a drawer up underneath the TV console and he found an old iPhone. Charged the phone, got on Amazon. He's 5, but he knows what Amazon is. He's seen us get on it before. Me and my husband's phones that we have, you have to have Face ID to check out on Amazon because that was an updated feature. Well, this old iPhone of mine did not have that updated feature, and I don't know if it's because the app was not updated or what, but he was able to check out just by clicking the Buy Now button, and of course our cards are logged onto there.
That's Mom. I feel like this kid will either end up in prison or running the world. There's probably no in between there. A range of outcomes. Today's Ohio Proud moment, this 7-year-old will not end up running the world. I'm sure he's a nice kid. Mason, Ohio. Video release showing a 7-year-old kid climbing into a rec center claw machine. We hear of this from time to time. Firefighters had to disassemble the machine to get him out. Los Angeles, county jail employee charged with smuggling heroin into that facility for the inmates in empty Pringles cans.
Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Mesa, Arizona YouTube prankster going to prison for a year. That's because one of his hilarious videos was him spraying Walmart produce with insecticide. Hardy har har har. His previous greatest hits include knocking a woman's dinner to the floor in a restaurant and dropping a cake on 2 men from 2 stories up. Funny guy. Bangor, Maine. A flight from Cancun to London landed in the hometown of Stephen King because 2 men began brawling in the aisle. Amazingly, these 2 clowns were not charged with anything and then put on separate flights back to their native England. I guess it was just easier to just go home. Sleep it off. Lyon, in France. Police looking for a man who escaped from prison hidden in his cellmate's laundry bag. The owner of the laundry bag was being released. It doesn't say whether he was in on this or not. You got to think he had to have known, right? I don't know. And finally, Death Valley, California. Let's take a moment to acknowledge Bob Becker. This is insane. He completed the 135-mile Death Valley Ultra Marathon. And by the way, Bob Becker is 80 years old.
When you turn 80, think of other things to do, not this. To have this kind of a welcome and all along the course, and pretty overwhelming, really. It's fabulous, it really was, and I'm just so glad that we were able to make the finish line this time.
It's amazing. You were strong at 77, but most people wouldn't imagine that you could rebuild yourself even stronger at 80.
I had a score to settle, buddy.
Good on you, Bob Becker, age 80. Amazing. I just want you to know I'm going to walk the dogs later. So, ultra marathon in the hottest place on the planet, or me walking the dogs, we can quibble about who's more fit. We could, but it'd probably be a waste of time. All right. Thank you for your time and for your support. I do appreciate it. Help us spread the word that we're hanging out here